So I'm excited. My Phyllis event is coming up on the 9th of January. I made a promise to myself and a commitment I was going to keep these Phyllis events going. I've done two recently and it went just the way I thought. It went great. I really enjoyed it. And for me, one of the themes I've kind of figured out from doing these is the simplicity of how simple it is. Just meeting up with a group of like-minded people in person, having a coffee and having a conversation, having a chat. And I think the times that we're living in, my Phyllis event couldn't be any more needed, even more needed than it was years ago. Because so much time today, obviously, with the situation with the pandemic, post-pandemic, during lockdowns, people spending too much time on social media, is no surprise to me. I'm sure it's no surprise to a lot of you why so many people are anxious now to meet people and they're finding it difficult to leave their house. So just getting to the Fearless event, I said it to the last two groups that came, everybody, myself included, that you're successful just by having the discipline and having the courage and just getting here, just turning up and seeing it through is a big deal. Maybe that wouldn't have been considered a big deal back in my day because that was just normal. Everybody did that. We always went out and played football. We always did things in person. There wasn't social media back then. So that's just what everyone done. But obviously things have changed now. Things have flipped on their head and most people live all their life on virtual reality. And even when you're having a conversation, even if it's genuine with someone online, could be your best friend in the world or someone, your girlfriend or someone you're dating. It's not the same as in person. It just isn't. It's not as intimate. You're not working the same muscles. You're not really using your brain properly. You're not using your social skills. You're not developing. If you stop using these skills, they start deteriorating. So obviously for mental health, it's brilliant to meet up with people, especially like-minded people that you've got something in common with. And that's what I like about the event. I understand the anxieties that all of you would feel. Same anxieties I have to work through, nerves and social fears and conversations and having to maybe get through being a little bit awkward. But at the end of the day, if you don't go through that, then you're just going to stay where you are. And sometimes people generalize and say things like, oh, I'm an introverted person, I'm not comfortable in groups of people, or I don't always feel like being around people. Well, the real truth is you're not really any different to anyone else. It's called human nature. Everybody's kind of like that, and depending on whether they can break out of it. And if I just allowed my human nature to take over, I'd be like that. I'd never run events because I'd never feel like it. And I'm not naturally the most outgoing, sociable person, but I choose to be like that because it makes me happier and I can help other people to be happy and have some good experiences in life. So sometimes you've got to get out of that. I know I had to many times, and I try and remind clients that although you're labeling yourself, you're different and everything, and in some degree, we're all different in ways, but ultimately, we're all pretty much the same. Everyone's got the same fears. Everyone really wants the same thing. So don't use that as an excuse and start saying those things, because it's no surprise to me. None of you can say, oh, I'm really, really a person who doesn't like being around people. That's no surprise to me. I've been like that for the first 15, 20 years of my life. That's kind of my story. That's how I got to where I got to, because I didn't want to continue being like that. I didn't want to choose for that to be how I was or how I saw myself. So break out of it by coming to the event. And for the discomfort that you're going to go through, it's going to be worth it. Because what other choice do you have to stay where you are? And that's obviously not making you happy. So loneliness today is due to, people... See, I understand it. Because I'm human. And, when you're like, I'm at home now. When you're at home and you're on your own, and you're in your own thoughts and you're in your own emotions, it's kind of limited. You have the same kind of thought patterns. You kind of think the same things. You worry about the same things. You kind of watch the same things, and you're in your own little world. We've all got our own little worlds. We all got our own little worlds. But if you stay in your own world for too long, you're going to get depressed. I don't care who you are, because we all need a release. We need a different perspective. As much as it's good to like your own company, and I love my own company, but not forever. That's why I like meeting up with friends and teaching, because you get to come out of your own narrative of the world, whether it's positive or negative, because it gets boring, right? And you get to hear someone else's point of view and you get to have that exchange. And that's a huge part of happiness. It's a nice feeling when you talk to someone, you hear them out, they hear you out. You might have something in common, you might agree on something, you might really connect, and then you think, you know what? It's not like I thought it was. Like, there are some good people out there. There are some people that are interesting, and there are some people that like me and value my opinion, and I actually can have conversations. So coming to the Fearless event, I know for everyone at a certain point, will disprove a lot of limiting beliefs about yourself and maybe your assumptions and your opinions about other people. Because it's easy to get into that victim mentality. It would happen to even me. I'm very disciplined, and knowing what I know and having been through what I've been through, all the good, all the highs, all the lows, all the people that I've met. Too much time on your own. It's so easy to get into, I don't want to be around people. I don't like people. People are boring. People are like this, or it's not going to be fun, or I'm not going to enjoy myself. And you have to break out of that if you want to be happy, and you've got to learn to do that on a regular basis. So the complexity and the just getting too deep about things can be a real negative. So just simplifies it and just say, I'm just going to go to the event. I'm just going to make myself go, whether I feel like it or not. And you're going to find out once you get there and spend the hour or 2 hours, or if you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to stay to the end of time. You're going to find out how you really feel. Most people actually discover that they do like being around people, that they do enjoy having conversations, but what's been going on for such a long time is that they've let their fears dominate them. They listen to their fears too much, and they've got used to being the way they are, and they've got used to being in the comfort zone. So you've got to get out your comfort zone if you want to stop feeling lonely, and you want to stop feeling isolated, and you want to stop feeling down and depressed and like you're not good enough. And I think sometimes just having a genuine conversation with another person, it doesn't have to be about something so extraordinary. It doesn't have to be deep. It just could be a simple conversation about boxing, or about what you've been doing at the moment, or your gym, or you whatever. Just a conversation with another person can really put things into perspective about people and about yourself. And it's overlooked today because people get too caught up in thinking that they need to be on social media and they need this and that. Now for me, I quite enjoy most of the time I spend on social media, because I do spend a lot of time in real life meeting up with people now that I'm teaching and doing events, dating, family. So it doesn't act as a negative, and I go out a lot to the gym. So I'm really trying to help people, guys, with the Fearless event, to at least get them out of the house, at least, even if it gives you a little bit of happiness in your life, it just reduces your anxiety for the day. That's better than nothing. It's better than a kick up the arse. So I try to give you the incentive for you to face your fears and come along, and just stop being hard on yourself. Instead of saying, oh, no, I'm going to be scared to come, or I shouldn't feel scared. It's all human nature. Everyone's nervous. Most people are scared to come out of the house. So you're no different to anyone else. But if you want to be better, and it's not good to compare, but if you want to be like other people that are successful, I'm not saying you should look at me like that, but if you do want to think, oh, I want to be a little bit more confident like Johnny is, and I want to be successful as he has done in my life in my own way, then come to the event, show up. That's how I got to where I got to, by showing up more often than I didn't show up. And you will enjoy it. Look, if you don't enjoy it, it's not the end of the world. If you don't enjoy my company and you don't enjoy the people there, you've never got to come again. As long as you're respectful, that's all I ask for people, and respect other people. If you don't enjoy it, you never have to come again. No one's forcing you. But if you don't give it a shot, how are you going to know? And I've used this approach a lot, and it's really helps. Instead of saying, oh, don't want to go to that gym because I might not like it, the people might not like me, I might not feel comfortable. Just go, just try it, see how you feel. And if you do enjoy it, and if you enjoy the event, you can come to the next Fearless event. And if you don't enjoy it, then you don't come. But if you never come, then you're going to be in limbo where you're not sure, and that's just going to create problems. So it's just trying to get through to people. So it's hard today, man. It's really hard with how much people are quite, people are just in their own worlds and they're just addicted to the machines. So when you try and snap people out of it, it can scare people a bit. I understand. It's like you want someone to help you. You kind of want to hear what I'm saying, or you want to do this, but at the same time, part of you doesn't want to hear it because it scares you. You don't want to have to face, your fears. You don't want to have to come out of the house and meet a group of people. But it's not that scary, man. There's a lot more scarier things than going to an event and having coffee and getting a little bit socially uncomfortable in order to get comfortable, hopefully. That's usually what happens in the end. There's way more scary things in life. For me, what's scarier is being on your own all the time and sitting at home, listening to your negative thoughts and just getting bored and down. Boredom, depression and loneliness can be a lot more scary than going out and meeting a group of nice, genuine people and just having a coffee. And like I always say to the guys as well, if you come and you don't feel like talking, you don't have to speak. You can just sit and listen and just get a coffee and just observe the group. As long as you're respectful, that's all I care about. And it doesn't take much. And there's always nice people, and you might come and for the first half an hour you might not feel comfortable to speak, and then you might kind of feel a bit more relaxed around people, around me and others, and you think, oh, I want to say something, and then you can. There's no pressure. I make it easy going. I make it kind of the same way I would if I was around my friends. I don't really treat it any different. And if you want to ask me questions coaching related in it, confidence, taking action, then you can ask me and I'll help you out if I can. And if I can't, I say I can't. I don't know what the answer to that is. So just kind of like basic common sense, guys. But I do appreciate, trust me, I understand how hard it is for a lot of you. That's why I say well done to the guys that have made it. And it's not knocking anyone who hasn't, because it can be hard. I've been through it myself in my life. I've been through times where I didn't have the courage, always didn't have the self-esteem, and I just couldn't get out of my comfort zone. And sometimes you've got to go through that to really learn and realize that you don't want to go through that anymore. And that's what will motivate you to get off your backside and get out of it. So that's kind of why I do repeat myself quite a lot in videos, but it's because I need to. It's because people don't always get it the first time. Sometimes I know what it is like for guys. They've got to hear it 30 times and maybe the 29th time and don't want to hear it, and then all of a sudden, as the saying says, the penny drops and it's like, oh, he's right, I need to make changes, I've got to get out of this situation, I've got to stop isolating myself away from everyone, and hopefully coming to the Fearless event will give you that point of reference. Maybe it'll make you realise that you want to go see your family more, you want to see your girlfriend, or you want to get a girlfriend, or you want to get a job, or that's the whole point of it, to help people to be more social and more confident. And then through that it will give you you'll learn life skills. Just being around positive people like myself, you'll pick up on things, you'll learn your own way, but you'll have some tools, and I teach the tools at the event. A lot of them I don't even need to explain. It's just something that will happen naturally for you showing up. Most of the success you'll get from the Fearless event is just showing up and coming along and just pushing yourself and going through the nerves, the anxiety, the butterfly. There's no shame in that. I go through that. That's what a champion, but it's going through it that makes you better. So don't be ashamed because you have nerves, you have anxiety, you have worry. I have it. We all have it. We all have doubt. But it's how we deal with it. I don't let it stop me. I try very hard not to, and to be more consistent. So it really does put most of the things into perspective. And sometimes this is a true saying, all the old wisdom stuff, a problem shared is a problem solved. And sometimes having a conversation with someone and hearing the challenges they're going through makes you realize that your life is not as bad as you thought it was. Or it can just take your mind off of it. For those 2 hours we're at the event, you won't be focusing on how negative your life is, your worries, your anxieties. You'll get some peace. A positive conversation interrupts the negative one. And when you're at home, for most part, if you're not in a good place, you're just listening to that negative conversation. You're kind of talking to that negative part of yourself, and it's just destroying you. Whereas when you go out and speak to people in real life, as you're talking to them, same way I'm doing the video now, it kind of distracts you, or it interrupts that negative in a conversation, which is the one that causes most of the problems, if not all the anxieties that us men struggle with. So it's interrupting it, and the more you do it on a regular basis, the more your mind will start resetting, and it will start being nicer to you and kinder, and you'll have more. You'll have like a better in a dialogue, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. You guys are smart, so I would say this video kind of summarizes many of the problems you have, and addictions, things like that, confidence of women. All these things are really are solved through one simple thing: going out a couple of hours, tea, coffee, in a nice place. I always go to a nice place, nature, in public, safe place, out in public, having a coffee, having a conversation. Brilliant. All right. So if you want to come along, it's free. Email me. There's a box below. It's the 9th of January. It starts at 1, finishes at 3. I'll give you the address when you send me the email. Now, just in case some of you are saying, obviously because of the current climate, if it needs to be cancelled because of the rules, then I'll do that. But as far as I'm aware, there's not been any changes. So if that happens, not the end of the world. I'll cancel it. We'll have to reschedule. If it can go ahead, I'm definitely going to be there on the 9th. And obviously, it's everybody's choice. I'm not going to tell people or not. If you want to wear the mask, it's up to you. It's your choice. At the end of the day, if you feel safer. So I respect people's opinion if you want to do that. If you don't, as long as we're following the rules and we're meeting up in a small group. So I look forward to seeing you at the Phyllis event. All right, bye.